All right, everybody. I'm excited to be here today, and Craig is with me on this podcast as well. Today, I'm excited. I've been waiting a long time for this interview with Russ Perry. He's the CEO and founder of a company called Design Pickle, which Craig and I both use daily, and we are full paying clients of the service because it just delivers that amount of value. And I feel like it's really helped automate and streamline a lot of what we do from a social media aspect, from a design, from a website, from anything content related. Design Pickle has become our go-to, which has been a gaping hole in my evolution as a dentist and as a marketer and business owner. So I'm so glad to have a kind of an unlimited service. And Russ, before we kind of jump into it, obviously welcome to the show, but before we jump into kind of, unpacking all the things that all the web of you and your company, tell us, kind of give the overarching, the elevator pitch of the value that Design Pickle could bring to a dentist or groups.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me, Peter and Craig. So honestly, the best value. So we are a graphic design company. And that's like the easiest way to describe what we do, but we do it in a very unique way, more about how the experience is driven and about how you pay us. So what I always say is we're a flat rate, unlimited graphic design company, which sounds like a lot of marketing, like fancy words, but truly that's what it is. You pay a subscription every month. It's $370 a month to start. And then you just send in what you need and you get a dedicated designer to help you, like you said, every day. It's so basic. It's almost like ridiculous when people want to have a sales conversation because it's kind of just like, that's it.
Well,
work online,
it's simple, but
service.
honestly, when I signed up and I was like, and I told Kim is kind of, she handles a lot of the administration for my practice and kind of my right-hand woman. I was like, this can't be real. There's no way it can be unlimited. Like something's fishy about this.
Yeah, I figured it was in Indonesia.
Right. So, like, it's going to be non-English speaking. Like these ads are going to be horrible. And I got back like the first thing and I was like, whoa. These are like 4 options and I'd take any one of those 4 options kind of thing.
Well, we get that a lot. And, just a full transparency, like one of my core values for our business and life is truth. We have a global team. So it's a unique online service where most of our team is actually located in the Philippines.
Oh, I knew it. See, I wasn't too far off.
We aren't too far. But what's so cool about that is what I call the set it and forget it design style, where you send it in during the day, you go to sleep, and it's ready in the morning. So it's just this really nice cadence. But we have, our team size, I know, Craig, you're wondering about this. We have 198 full-time employees. So
Wow.
You're not dealing with that guy who's just trying to like do design on the side hustle or gal. They're there and then they're not. And then they're in Indonesia on vacation. You can't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Like that whole experience.
Or like sometimes I would get stuff back. Like, so just in full, I'm going to give a little bit of my story here is that I used to use services like, Upwork and at the time Elance and Fiverr. And Fiverr is a whole different thing there, get complete dog shit back. But by the time I would get a quality ad, let's just call it one ad of something simple like a banner. By the time I was done with it, it took so much time, and it literally cost about the same amount as what you charge unlimited for a month.
Right.
It was crazy, and so then I was like, "Oh, Fiverr, $5, like $5 ads."
There you go.
My daughter could make better ads than most of these, and she's 7.
Well, here's the secret sauce. Here's why we're able to do it. This is literally the secret of our entire business. So if you want to copy Design Pickle, this is how you do it.
Okay.
You hire designers full-time and you treat them really well and you let them get to work directly with the client and get to know them.
Yep.
Like that's it. Like that's
Amen. Amen. You need this client representative who's trying to figure out the story for your brand, and you speak all day long with him. And then it's a game of telephone. Then he goes over and speaks to the cool dude with the nose ring in the back of the room. And then there's this intermediary. It's the same disintermediation we always talk about. It's the travel agent model.
Right.
Firms are
like imagine doing what you guys do in the dental industry, and I never actually work with the dentist. Like imagine I never do. Now I know there's lots of parts of the process of dental that you don't work with the dentist because there's different roles. But imagine if that was was never done. It's like, well, we're going to do this surgery, but you know what? We're never actually going to, you're never going to work with this person. You have to talk to this person and they're going to tell them what, like, it's just this crazy thing. Like, you have to be able to connect and learn and work and understand. And it's the emotions too. That's what a lot of people don't realize, is that creativity is such a personally emotional process. Yep. It's like your baby. Like, you care so much. And our clients, I kid you not, they care too. Like, it's hard when they get some feedback that's like, oh, we missed a typo, or you didn't understand something. Like, they internalize it a little bit. We actually have to kind of help them out because they care so much about our clients.
So you give us kind of the genesis of, I know you did about Design Pickle, but then kind of how fast you expanded, and then the struggles along the way of kind of scaling. I know you just gave us kind of the reverse engineer of how you would start Design Pickle with getting a bunch of people and caring for them deeply, but like, walk us through a little bit, because I'm sure there's a lot of parallels to just scaling in general and extrapolating that into dentistry.
Well, I think the biggest catalyst for everything I'm doing now today was because I was my first client. I had closed my creative agencies really unceremoniously. I had a branding design firm that didn't work out, really, just was not profitable half the year. And then the month we were profitable made up for the months we weren't. We closed it, and I started consulting, and I needed the exact kind of stuff that Design Pickle does. So I needed the business cards. We were my first client was going to a trade show and need some sales materials and a promotion for their website that they could put up there. And the guy who literally had a whole agency of designers a month ago, could not find help. Like, I was like, it was crazy. And so then I finally started thinking, okay, well, I know kind of how to manage the process really well. What if I could just find like a really good designer and streamline the experience so the client request would come in, we could start immediately, and then I could kind of look at it, help the designer if they're not clear on what's going on. And so we built Design Pickle with me, a project manager, and a designer. It wasn't called Design Pickle at the time. It was just called Russ Consulting. And
what year was this? Sorry.
This was 2014. 2014.
Holy cow.
And so it started to work pretty well. And here I was doing all this like cool fun, exactly what you're saying, Craig. I like meet with the client, we do brand strategy. Whoa, what are we going to do? Here's this big idea. And then then they would just be requesting the small stuff behind the scenes I would kind of see. And all the blah, blah, blah fancy stuff was like so shitty and hard to do. And then this design stuff that was like, wow, this is really working. And clients care more about just getting stuff in a reliable way.
Yeah, the speed of execution is the rate limiting step. People are like, I just want a business card. No, we got to talk about your brand story. Like, we have to figure out, like, are you more like, it's just so funny the way they talk. And I think that ad agencies, I always like to say, their biggest concern is not getting you clients. It's like winning an Addy. I have a very good friend of mine who owns a very large marketing firm. He got me like 4 Addies, the Addy Awards. They get these crystal awards. I don't know what the fuck they are.
And it got you no patience.
It didn't get me anything. But they're so proud of that. And it got them other dental clients. But it's just funny that the measure of success in the advertising world is.
And you know what would get you more clients? Really relevant, meaningful posts on Instagram every day.
Yeah.
Like simple stuff like that, that's tagged correctly. Like that's the kind of stuff you need to do. So fast forward, I read this book called 7-Day Startup by Dan Norris. Him and a guy named Alex McCaffrey founded a company, WP Curve, which was flat rate WordPress updates. They've since sold it to GoDaddy, but it was an inspiration for me because the same business model they had put for these flat rate website updates, I had the bones of that for design. It was literally, they used the same software we were using. It was the same style, the same idea. So I love pickles. I had a lot of bad branding projects when I was an agency with tech companies that were super boring. So I just picked a fun name called Design Pickle, and the domain was available. And we launched in 2015. So we rolled out to the market. We had a profitable first month, and we've just been doubling down on ourselves ever since.
Wow.
It's awesome.
That is awesome. So obviously you have with 100, 200 designers or 200 employees, you have a ton of clients.
Not all designers. So we have about, I'd say 135 designers.
Okay. But there's obviously a tremendous amount of things that you've seen that have worked from a conversion standpoint, right? So if we're all about, it's like Craig is saying, sometimes it's not about creating addy like ads or award type ads. It's about conversions and what's going to either engage people on social media or convert someone to pick up the phone and call to patronize our business. Is that a thing, by the way? Patronize your business, or are you just a patron of the business?
No, patronize.
Patronize. You patronize the business?
Well, you could say patronize or patronize.
But wouldn't you be making fun of the business, though?
Yeah, I think that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a double entendre, as they say in France.
Okay. Well, anyway, so Russ, I want you to walk us through like what some of the key elements to those people who may never use you, have their own designer, or like to do their own Photoshop. Like, what are some key elements of great content?
Well, if you're doing it yourself versus if you're working with someone else, I think there's kind of two different approaches. Doing it yourself is dangerous for the long run, but definitely there's a time and a place for it. So you're getting started, you don't have a big budget, you're really trying to make it work, and limited resources. So in that regard, simple is always better. Simple is always better. And one of the super technical things that most people don't realize is in pretty much every platform, with the exception of like a billboard or a TV ad, which you shouldn't be doing anyway, every advertising channel has interactivity to it. And so what I mean by that is so many people try to cram a ton into the graphic itself, not remembering that you can associate a link with it, that there's always you can add a link or a value add, or it's sending someone to a website page when there can be all the tons of information that you want to dive into. And that's like creative direction 101. So I see that a lot of times when you are new Design Pickle clients. They'll want like
stuff in everything in one
the
ad.
logo, and then we need the phone, and then we need this, and then we need this link. And it's like, well, where are you posting this? Well, we're posting it on Facebook.
It'll be this big.
Yeah, and what do you want them to do? Well, we want them to go to our website and book a consultation. Well, then put 90% of that on the website and keep the graphic itself emotional, disruptive. You want to know the best two ads we've had since we've launched? The best two ads. It's me, by the way, but it's not me. It's me dressed as a pickle. Like, we have used this pickle ad for webinars, signups, event registrations, like cancellation recoveries, and it's just a silly picture. And so it has nothing really to do about the graphic other than it's something different. That's like what we hammer. How many dentist clients and listeners have a picture of a dentist being a dentist? Like no shit, you're a dentist. It says dental practice in the name. We just know you're a dentist. You don't need to show us that you're a dentist. Unless you're the Star Trek dentist, which there's one of those kid ones nearby me. It's like a space theme, which is cool.
I've seen
it's like,
that.
Where are you? Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Scottsdale. So anyway, but like, don't over communicate. Let the graphic disrupt, and then let your website and everything else deliver on what it is.
I'd say that's great advice, and something I was super guilty of as a practitioner. Because I would be ramming in stuff because you feel like you have like a short little half-second attention span to get it all in, and then you just forget, right? Like, where's the context of where it's going to be played? Where's this ad going? Like Craig is saying, is it Facebook where you're only going to see a little bit, and now your ad just...
And by the way, Facebook regulates how much text you have in the picture anyway.
In a paid ad situation, yes.
Yeah,
but just when you're just creating content, which is what we use a lot of Design Pickle stuff for, is just, a blog post or a content or a social media stuff that really we're not trying to generate anything other than engagement and just be interesting and eye-catching. Mm-hmm. So, all right, that's a great tip or hack for if you're doing it yourself, or you're auditing your own, or you're having a designer and you need to audit what they're doing. Is don't let too much stuff go in a small space.
To the graphic itself.
Love it.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. What else are some good tips and hacks if someone's trying to?
So naturally your business is going to evolve, and you should not be doing the graphic design, and you should not have your assistant be doing the graphic design. You should have a graphic designer be doing the graphic design. Just like, any profession the professional should be doing it. So the next thing is this: no one in the graphic design industry can read minds, like period. They cannot read minds yet. So the next mistake I see people make is they don't provide visual inspiration of what they're thinking about or what they want. They're like, oh, you're the designer. Here, make me a picture of something awesome on the beach. Okay, you think that's like a cool description. For me, that would be like a dragon monster emerging from the beach, like with fire breathing. For my wife, it would just be a sunny day where she could read. Like, that's two different interpretations of awesome.
Subjective.
Right.
Yeah.
So clients always think like, well, you're the designer. Why should I have to do that? And it's all about the calibration. Over time, you don't have to do that because your designer knows what you like and don't like. But on the offset, like, just don't use words. Just send links and screenshots to stuff you dig, and the designer, if they're a professional one, can figure it out from there.
You know what else you could do, which is really, really good, Russ, is you could have your friends sign up for the service as well. And then when you see an ad that you like, just poach it like you did with me.
I did. Oh yeah, I have poached a couple of those with you.
I came out with this thing about tech. We now, like, we have text, like, who calls anymore. And I'm like, make sure you tell them, like, I want like a 1940s chick, answer the phone, like almost like an operator, like, who calls anymore? We have text now. So, I saw on Peter's Instagram.
Here's a touche to that comment of your jab. Are ready?
Oh, come on, bro.
Here we go. Ready? I may have copied your ad, but you copied my service.
Oh,
I know.
Oh.
Hey, listen, we don't copy. We learn from each other.
You're inspired by. Inspired
by. I have a favorite quote. It says, if you steal from one, it's plagiarism. If you borrow from one, it's plagiarism. If you borrow from many, it's research.
Research, yeah.
So Pete and I do extensive research on each other.
No, we just plagiarize each other. But there is some synergy to that, right? Because, like, I didn't have to come up with that. I just had to be like, hey, my design pickle designer, can you make one just like his? Because, like, he's my buddy. It's cool. And boom, they did. One thing that I have a funny term for you, Russ, or a story, is going back to kind of some of my design days, and I'm just going to do it myself because I got so frustrated by the term I called pixel pushing. And I was like, some of these designers just didn't have the chops to do it. And I was like, if I have to pixel push for you, I might as well just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating because I felt like you said, I wasn't just saying, like, I want the beach picture, make it awesome. I was saying, I want this over here and here and here. And it was coming back like not there. I was like, if I'm going to have to pixel push, then I'm just going to do it. And so I am guilty of putting out ads that probably I would be horrified to go back and look at.
And I imagine your brand has evolved over time too.
For sure.
Overall, like, you have a more defined brand. I bet our design pickle designer had a way easier time working with you than the version of your company 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another question. When we accept something in Design Pickle, does that go in like our file so that do we have the same designer every time?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Got it. I see what you're saying.
And that's how the relationship is kind of cultivated, just by experience of yes and no's,
Craig, do you actually use it, or do you have someone else use it for you?
So right now I have someone that uses it for me.
Okay.
I actually told Craig that he uses it and I'm not in his business.
So that person has a dashboard they can log into and see all the lists of everything.
Yeah, we have one person accessing it now, but I need to launch it to the multiple teams we have in the office so everybody could be using as well.
I love it.
I've in full disclosure, Russ, I've never done the back end of me doing it either.
Thanks, Pete. You could have taken the liberty to be like, Craig, what the frick is wrong with you, man? Like, doing this? Why are you delegating? That's the core aspect of your brand. So
all you need is just to add in an additional email. Yeah, you'll get billed for it, but then you can just email it. You don't need to log into anything. You just email from your inbox whenever you need something. It'll just magically come back the next day.
So wait, you get billed for it? I thought it was unlimited.
Unlimited, one per user. Sorry, let's clarify. Per user.
Okay.
So per person. Now, you could share accounts, not recommended. That's sort of confusing for designers, but we have a couple clients who bend the rules, and they all.
Well, it's one business, so we want it to have the same look and feel.
Which is not a problem, but again, dragon coming out of the ocean, awesome, or sunny beach, awesome. Everyone has different personal preferences, so it's hard to design if we don't know who we're designing for, or if it's multiple people.
Each email, I have just a small question here. Each email, is that the full fee in the same company, or an additional users a lesser fee?
It's traditionally full fee, but our sales team is no problem knocking some prices off for multi-users.
And he's going to give we'll put a discount. We'll give a link and a discount code for the Bulletproof listeners.
Yeah.
So we'll have a code up.
Dude, I love how much we're talking about design pickle. It was awesome. I could talk about this all day long.
It's like your favorite.
It's kind of like a customer support call too. Like, so when I have this, like,
you can just repurpose this if you want, Russ, and put it on your website for like, oh, actually, we covered this topic on the Bulletproof podcast.
You a dentist? Do you have questions about billing? Great, click here.
Listen to these jerk-offs. So any other, I want to go back to the, I want to deliver the value, and anyone listening that says, all right, give me some cool tips and tricks. Anything else that you may have as advice?
Just get rolling. Like, so many people just are so hesitant to start. Like, period. And you know what?
They wait for perfection. And sorry to cut you off, Russ, but they wait like, I need this ad to be perfect. And you're like, just deploy it. Just deploy the content, because the cadence and frequency is more important than the perfection.
Exactly. And you know what? It's gonna suck in 6 months anyway, because you're gonna change. Your styles are gonna change. So just get it out there and get rolling. I lament over creation all the time, whether it's an email, an ad, a landing page, and sometimes it's just the point of diminishing returns. You just got to roll. But if you're not doing anything, something is better than nothing.
Well, there's a good pertinent example of someone who I think has been successful, a public figure that I'm a big fan of, that Craig's probably going to roll his eyes at. But Gary Vee puts out more content than anyone I've ever seen. And it's not perfect. It's raw and authentic. And he's got a full-time guy, obviously, doing that for him, video and documenting everything. But it's like, I don't know how that guy gets so much damn content in, whether it's podcasts and graphics and this and that, just massive amounts of stuff. And it's not polished. A lot of it's not polished, but it's just like,
that makes it more real.
It doesn't make it perfect. It's not perfect. And look how perfect my stuff is. It's just like, I don't give a shit. If you like it, cool. If you don't, beat it. Nerd.
Correct. And the message is powerful regardless of the polish of the delivery. So he knows what he's all about. And like, I think that stands through. Like, anytime we have a client who has a clear conviction of what they do, what they're about, it's so much easier to work with them than the client who's kind of like, well, I don't know. How would you market this cat pajama company? Like, well, we're not sure. Like, you're the expert of cat pajamas, so you tell us.
And you bring up a good point, actually. So cat pajamas, obviously a funny industry, a niche industry. And I think that's where dentists, we fall into, well, wait a second. I'm a doctor. We're running patient practice. This is serious business. I can't do fun, serious ads because people won't take me fun, unserious ads because people won't.
Well, I think the climate's shifting with all that Drake in my feelings thing.
Oh, yeah. All the dentist
video. Everybody's going freaking super clowny now.
The Kiki.
Getting tagged on Facebook to go dance around like a freaking clown. What's expected of a dentist now is to act like, just feel free to humiliate yourself.
You know the Kiki dance we're talking about, Russ?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, that became like a thing for, I don't know, you've probably seen a ton of dentists, but like it became a dentist like getting tagged. I got, like you, Craig, I get tagged so many times and I was like, there's zero chance. I may have been the first or second guy. I am not going to be the 100th guy that does this stupid dance.
Yeah, there's no real good upside from dancing, by the way. If you're really, really good at dancing, you look like Brian Boitano, basically. And if you stop, you look like an idiot. So there's a very fine line for a man to dance that you have to like kind of, and that guy killed it. What, the big dude that,
the Greenville, South Carolina. He's had like 33 million views of this video.
Yes.
But Russ, so I think I want to give I was doing a little research on you. And like I said, I was super excited to get you on from the company just because I think you guys have the merit to be introduced to our audience. And I really think dentistry needs you guys. So I'm super glad to have you on from that aspect. But as I kind of did my research on you as a human and a business owner, I got more enthralled. You and I were talking about the warrior stuff before I hit record. I know that's a big part of your life. I know you coach for that. It's a men's thing, right? So maybe kind of just
they're doing women stuff too. So.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. It's expanded.
Yeah. Speaking of being like, I think I got more ads from Garrett White than like humanly possible. I think he just followed me around the internet. I couldn't escape Garrett's. Um, so I don't mean that in a bad way, because obviously he's done exceedingly well, and he's brought a tremendous amount of value to a lot of humans who have needed him. But I want to talk about that just for a quick second, and what you're doing, and just kind of like you as a human and what you're passionate about, and yeah.
Right. Well, so as Design Pickle has grown, it's been kind of a predicament for me, because we are becoming more of a really established engine of production, of creation. The systems of marketing and all of that are working and growing and scaling. And so there was, just to be completely honest, I was getting kind of frustrated with my own personal like commitment and involvement, because my team, I was like bothering them when I would like come in to work with them and, hey, let's do this idea. And it's like, well, we already have this plan, Russ, like you're distracting us, like get out of here, like go do this other, go away. So that was like one half. Like I was being the distracted, like entrepreneur founder guy, like, hey, let's, what I do? I have an idea of pickles and guns. Let's go to the desert and get tannerite and high explosives and high powered rifles, which we did, and make
Sounds like a good idea. Slow-mo.
Which we did. We rented a 30,000 frame per second camera. And well, let's just say that hasn't really done really great for marketing, because it was a good team building experience.
Yeah, but tannerite footage is always good.
Especially
you'll use it later.
A 50-gallon barrel of pickles strapped to it. But on the other end, this program, Wake Up Warrior, has been transformative for me. So in 2015, I joined. I went to Warrior Week 22. It's a men's training program. And it just opened my eyes about a new way to live and a lifestyle. And what's kind of cool about it is it's not insane. It's not like this whole new, all new things. Like if you're a personal development person who's studied it, you would see elements, but the organization, the group, the way they kind of bring people together was powerful. And I did it for 2 years solid. And then last year they opened up an opportunity to train and become a certified trainer on that. And so I was the 6th certified trainer to get my certification. And so this year I've been launching my own consulting and training programs. So I've done 3 programs, 1 virtual, 2 in person. Actually, next week I'm flying. We got 10 guys coming together for their experiences, and I'm doing that. And I mentioned over the interview, I have an experience called the Blackout Experience, which is in September. So it's really been amazing, like changing lives, dialing in, and it's leveling me up as a leader, which has that trickle down effect for Design Pickle.
You know what I would attribute it to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Craig and I are both big Tony Robbins fans. Actually, Craig is his dentist. And it's like Tony Robbins, but with a physical aspect where you kind of get broken down, and correct me if I'm wrong, okay, Russ, on this, but it seems like there was some breakdown going on before you could get built back up. And there was some physical breakdown, some mental breakdown. And it was like, that was the warrior.
It is. And it's what it's actually breaking down is the stories and scripts that's been running your life so far. Mm-hmm. So I've been to several live experiences. I've actually been to a dozen of them. 2 of them were called Warrior Weeks. I went early on and I went last year. I had to go again for my certification. Trust me, I didn't think I needed to go, yet I still had a transformative experience, because even as we grow and expand and we become better, new stories start to manage our lives and start to control what we do. And what the process always is never taking that for granted, and continual evaluation and continual growth. Mm-hmm. And so that's a lifelong journey. And Tony Robbins, he's a legend, man. He's paved the way for so many in this industry. However, there's only a finite impact that those programs can have. And that's why people go back all the time. Mm-hmm. Is because there's just like, okay, I have my experience. I'm excited. But then things happen. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go back.
Yeah, life happens.
Yeah, exactly. So, Warrior tries to be a bit different in the sense it's sort of like reprogramming you, not in a weird manipulative way, but in a way where you can now have those tools yourself. And a lot of guys who come through never come back, because they have basically found a new set of ways to approach challenges, especially as a male entrepreneur. I'm not saying that it's harder to be a male. I'm just saying that males suck at processing emotions more than women generally. And it compounds the effects in their lives a lot faster.
Yeah, and we internalize it a lot more because we have that sense that we need to be the strong, silent, like just internalize and churn. I am super guilty of that.
Yeah.
And to the detriment of, your health. I mean, it accelerates. There's a whole lot of things I'm learning right now. I have to take a turn, but like I actually had my telomeres tested, which kind of gives your cellular age. And it found out that I was 20 years advanced from what I am. And it was mainly due to the stress that I put on myself as being an entrepreneur and internalizing everything. So like there's not just these silos of things that you're talking about. It's your health and your wellness and the relationships, and it's all intertwined. And that's what I just love when people are kind of deep into that space of what you're talking about, because
Totally.
The objective is just betterment and a constant journey. And I think that's, as a 42-year-old man, I'm figuring out that it's not the destination. It's the journey of kind of small problems and self-fixing and self-development, and just getting better and better is the secret of happiness, not the goal line, which I've always thought it was when I was 25-year-old male. I thought that the goal line was sitting on a beach rich with beautiful wife next to me, and that was it. That was the goal. And now you make me do that now, I would literally I couldn't sit on a beach longer than, a week, 2 weeks.
Right. Because it's really about expansion and growth. Like that's what we want.
I think that one of the commonalities to happiness and fulfillment is continual growth.
Right.
And there are, like, the same way there's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there's actualization needs. So you at low levels where you're surviving. When we all started out, we were worried about like how we're going to, pay for payroll next week or whatever like that. That's your first need. You have to just survive, the survival. And then when you get to that level, eventually you'll start saying, well, what's next? You get all these things checked off, and you still feel that same yearning, that unfulfillment in your soul, that what's next. And you don't fix it with more. But American society, Western society, is telling us the way you fix it is with this watch and this thing and that thing. And it's really, it's a sickness. Pete and I talk about this all the time. We have a coach that we share between the two of us. We talk about this all the time because it does not lead to fulfillment. And I think it's really good that we're talking about this, because in the dental industry, many dentists look up to Pete and I as having made it, whatever that means, that we've had this, practice. I mean, they do, for what it's worth, that there is that. Some people like, I would never want that, but there are a good percentage of people who like, it must be great. You have no more challenges. And I just want to speak to that because there are massive challenges. I'm going through a massive one right now. Holy smokes. I'm getting I'm going through some major stuff. For those that know me and recognize, my physiology is different. I just can't even fake it. But, that's part of the process, and that's where the fulfillment lies. And I have a friend, actually, a very close friend. I want him to remain nameless because Pete knows him as well. He actually went through the warrior training, and he's been through a lot of different trainings, actually. And that's really cool because I think there's a masculine thing that's actually under attack as well. Right. There's this, masculine energy is not, and I'm not saying like, I don't want to get into a gender discussion, because even gender has, even like a lesbian couple or a homosexual couple or a heterosexual couple, there is masculine and feminine energy. We all have it. We, the three of us men, have feminine and masculine energy. And I feel like there is a masculine energy that's under attack these days. And there needs to be that outlet to express it in some way. I think that, the polarity of the sexes creates that chemistry that we talk about.
Let me just speak to that directly, because it's not a masculine thing. It's a man thing. And the man thing is one of my early clients was an openly gay man. And he was really like, Russ, I don't know if I want this. He actually wanted to work with me instead of Garrett because of the program seems pretty homophobic if you're really like looking at a wife and this and marriage and all of this. And I told him, I was like, Ken, here's the deal. Are you a man? He's like, yes. I'm like, okay, cool. You're in. Like, it had nothing to do with the way he's decided to, position himself or his biochemical programming to be gay. Like it was a man thing, and he crushed it. He had the biggest growth. And you know what he said? He's like, the gay community, the male gay community needs this, because guess where there's a huge deficit in masculinity and certainty and confidence he's like, I'm actually getting goosebumps right now because of this, because of how it is. So that's the issue here. And it doesn't matter how you interpret that. And actually I get a lot of heat when I send out marketing messaging for the program. So it's like, oh, it's men only. And I'm like, look, that's all I know how to train on right now. Like, this program is moving into women, but I'm sure Tony Robbins would agree. It's a much different dynamic with age, sex, what country you're in. Like, it matters. And so I'm just in this one narrow vein of it. I'm going to expand next year, actually, but it's a man thing. And you're just right on, Craig, on that.
Well, we're getting into a political discussion that I don't want to have because it's very sensitive, but there is a conversation that's widely held that there is no difference in man, woman, age. It's this neutrality conversation. And I want to point to that. There's equality, but there's a difference. There's equality, but there's a difference. So I think the pendulum always swings. For so long, you had women having to deal with so much of the Me Too movement. I have older patients, and they're not even that old. I have patients that are in their 50s, that have told me that when they got their first job, their boss was like slapping their rear end and like abhorrent stuff that women had to do in the workplace. So, and they were just expected to deal with it for so long. So this pendulum swung to this terrible intolerance of sexism and glass ceilings. And now it needs to swing back. But oftentimes, as things do in culture, they don't swing to neutral. They can swing all the way over here, and then they go back and swing. So we're in that vacillation of times. But I think it's really good that men have different challenges, women have different challenges. We are not the same in the way we approach things. And Tony speaks a lot about this. Like, men have these basic needs, and women's basic needs are so incredibly different, and the way we approach situations is so different. So it's just good that we're speaking about it.
I was raised by my mom, who's also gay openly, very strong feminist. My sister, I'm married. I have 3 daughters. My mom has 4 sisters, and I have 6 female cousins. So you want to talk about a man who's
estrogen overload on you.
But the point is it's man or women, it's like dedication to families. And if you don't have kids, dedication to healthy living, eliminating the sedation that entrepreneurs have to go through because they think they have to carry that on themselves. Like, that's what it's about.
And that I want to wrap this back into dentistry because I think it's important. And I talked about how it's internalized a lot, but as you may know, Russ, there's, dentists do this more than any other group, I feel like, because there was at some point a high suicide rate because we felt super alone in the silo that we created, and like, oh my gosh, we're dealing with these patients, and everyone hates coming to me, and no one understands what I'm going through, and so that's why I think any group like a Tony Robbins or a Warrior Week, and I think it's cool to bring awareness because there may be someone listening to this right now that needs the help of the Warrior Week because it's a different approach than.
Might I recommend the Blackout Experience? That's
Blackout Experience.
That's the new one. That's the new one on the market.
All right. Oh, but so it
sounds great. Sign up for the waterboarding vertical add-on.
Just don't black out. Blackout. So man, that's awesome. I really wasn't, I was actually thinking as we were talking, what's the title of this podcast going to be? Cause it started out with design and then we went into like homosexuality and men's energy and like, this is going to be a tough one to title because it's been all across the board.
Just take random words.
What?
You just said the title right there.
What?
Design and homosexuality and men's energy.
Yeah.
and a bunch of other random thoughts. ...
Episode number, whatever it is.
Man, all right. Well, Russ, anything else we can add to kind of, be totally sporadic about getting back to design and any advice for dentists? Oh, I know. Tell us the story, because I'm on the storytelling marketing. Tell us the story of your number one client. Not number one client, your first client.
So this just goes to show the journey I've been on. So when you talk about you've had all this success, in 2003, so 15 years ago, I launched my freelance design business, and my first client was related to my first job, which was in the solid surface countertop industry. So like Corian or LG Hymax, it's basically plastic resin. And this guy, Mark DeBrock, if you're still out there, I remember and I honor you, Mark. He was a countertop guy and decided that he could actually create this thing called the wall shoulder. Do you guys remember the wall shoulder?
No.
It was in like the buyer magazines when you open up your dentist, all the supplies. It was a thermoform, so they heat it and then they mold it, X-ray vest holder that you would put on your wall. And it was like a big, like a suit coat hanger that's like big and thick.
I've seen
so
that.
This would sit on there because he was determined to save dentists money from throwing their X-ray vests on the ground and then folding and getting broken. He declared it was a pandemic with dentists. They were wasting so much money replacing their lead vests or whatever it's made out of.
They're lead, yeah.
They're lead. And so he made the wall shoulders. And so I designed a brochure, a trifold brochure with all of the different models and all the different colors and the logo.
He's still in business. I'm Googling it right now.
Is he still around? Mark, I love you. And this guy, maybe I'm changing his life right now by sharing this with everybody. If this is a real issue, please support this man because he helped me get on my start. But I realized A, I sucked at graphic design. And B, I was much better at sales and marketing. And so that's when I started into my business as an agency, hiring designers. So the lesson here is do what you're good at and hire the rest.
Yeah. And audit your your self-awareness, be self-aware of what you're good at. I actually was just talking about that in the previous podcast, is that it's sometimes nice to identify what you're good at and what you suck at and get out of the way and let the people kind of support you where you're deficient and stay in your highest and best use of your time. And obviously you've grown your company massively. You've had great success. So you've obviously stayed in your lane of which you're most effective.
Well, thank you. That was fun to tell. I've literally never shared that story before because I'm slightly embarrassed of the work. Hopefully he's gotten some better work by now.
I'm eager to see what Craig's expression is because he's looking at it and I'm not, but I'm eager to actually chime in. I'm eager to look at it at some point, but I won't.
Well, he's got several models of the wall solar. It is a DeBrock company.
Oh, okay.
It's a DeBrock company. It's all good, man. Listen, everybody plays a part in what we,
Hey, the niches the riches are in the niches.
Hey, listen.
So that logo is the logo I designed on there.
Yeah. No, it's good, man. Quality work.
That's great.
Oh, no.
No, I don't. I was being sincere. I was not trying to be funny. It looks fine. Looks good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
So everyone listening, I implore you to try out Design Pickle. Do you guys have a trial service, Russ?
Yeah.
So we do and don't. So you pay up front just so that we don't get any rascals in who just want a free lunch. But it's a 2 weeks at a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Got it.
So all you need to do is try it and love it. And if that's not the case, then you get your refund back and no questions, super friendly team, and you can keep the design files too. So you can move beyond.
And so for our code, you're going to go to designpickle.com/bulletproof. What are they going to get for that? You talked about the 370. What's the offer to our amazing listeners?
So we'll give everyone, so what we love to do is just give everyone 25% off their first month. So you can try us out and like it. And it's literally you either love it or you don't. So there's really no middle ground on that. We've talked a lot about it. I just want people to try it because that is better than where you're currently at right now.
Right.
So 25% off your first month. Check it out. It's super streamlined. And we'd love to help.
You know what I love about this, Peter? All the stuff that we paid for and already do, we get bargains for everybody that listens, but we didn't get this. It's all good. It comes out in the wash, but it's funny. We vet the stuff. Pete vets it. I buy into it. And they're like, hey, give us a deal for our listeners.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
We're happily paying.
Hey, that's the pay it forward process.
Yeah, I know. But I like it. I just want to make sure people
because
that are listening are aware.
I'm thinking about the startup doc who's getting out and who's tight on a shoestring budget and doesn't have the thousands and $10,000 design budget and advertising. Yeah. You can use Design Pickle, use free social media, and literally that can be your entire existence of your ad because you can develop and deploy content of value and be creative. It doesn't, effective advertising doesn't have to be expensive anymore. That's what I love about this service. If you can afford $370, then you're in the game.
Well, everybody has access to the same channels. You still have to buy $30,000 in radio or TV to make a dent.
That's my point.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
listen,
my point.
you can be in South Carolina and just do a silly video and get 33 million impressions.
And you're not limited by your budget. Like, oh, I have all these ideas for cool ads, but I don't want to pay for my designer to go through all these permutations. Like, I honestly will tell Kim all the time, like, oh my gosh, let's run this. I want a banner that looks like this, or not a banner. I want something that looks like this, right? And you can just like flow with your creativity and like design and just roll, and it helps everything, right? So, anyway, Russ, man, you're doing big things, man. You're creating a lot of value just for humans and obviously customers, but you're doing good things for the human race. And
thank you.
We talked about the warrior stuff.
I want to throw out there too, just for you guys, like if anyone has any questions on it, email me directly, russ@designpickle.com. I answer every email. Maybe I will put you in touch with one of my team members if it's something specific, but if you're just not sure, just email me and let's have a conversation. Even though we're a growing company, we don't want it to be complicated, and we want you to get the service you deserve. So russ@designpickle.com is my direct email, and I'd love to have a conversation.
That's huge. That's huge.
About anything. We can talk about whatever, but Design Pickle is obviously an area that I feel like.
Nice. I may just start sending you like therapy level questions, like, Russ, what do you think I should do in this instance here?
I'll give you an answer. It may not be a good one, but I'll give you
one. Greg, anything else before we let Russ get on with his day?
No, Russ, I'm surprised by your dynamic background, and all the stuff that you're into is great.
What's your coaching page too? Sorry to interject, but do you have a coaching URL too? What is that?
So right now, the best place to get more info on what I'm doing is just go to the Blackout website. It's theblackoutexp.com. Theblackoutexp.com.
Cool. Send me an invite for that event. I might see what my calendar looks like.
Dude, you would love it. It would be crazy and fun and hard, and you get from what I know about you now, like I'm like smiling because I just know you'd eat it up.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, Russ, have a great day, man.
Guys, thanks, Russ. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Peter.
Bye, buddy.